Son of a What's up, guys, and welcome back to the Moto Gumption YouTube channel with me, Ishmael Barrientos. Today we are tackling another episode of the Supercharged Raffle build. Alright, so for those of you who are new here, we are raffling off a supercharged motorcycle after the build is over. So if you want to check out the older episodes to get caught up, I suggest doing so. Now, on this one we are going to be completing a return style fuel system to accommodate this supercharger. Hope you guys enjoy the content. Let's get on with it. And what do we have here? So before we get started on this one, let's go ahead and open up these new parts that just came in and see what we got for the fuel system and see what we got for the motorcycle. Ooh, that was nice. I got some Moto Dynamic LED turn signals. These are the smoked ones, so they're actually kind of nice. Then got some MZS levers. These are actually pretty good, or pretty nice actually. Got black with the red adjustable dial. Sounds nice. Anyway, so here's those. So got two AN fittings. One that'll be going straight to the the way I have it set up for the gauge. All right. Then I have another one, which is this is a fuel cell bung. All right, bulkhead fitting, I should say, actually. All right, guys, we're going back to stock grips, just because they actually aren't bad grips at all. I like them, so I'm going back to the stock grips. Got for the big money on the fuel system. Got a Fuel Lab fuel regulator. This is a 1-to-1, so per PSI of boost that's added into the fuel system, it'll add 1 psi of fuel pressure to combat that, because with every psi boost it tries to force it back into the ejectors. So that was not cheap. That was 165 bucks for that fuel pressure regulator. Then I got a Fuel Lab, gauge for your fuel pressure, so we know what we're working with, so we can adjust it. Got some fuel line, some high pressure fuel line. Got some brass fittings for the T, so when we do a return style, it has one way to go. And just some AC washers, because they work great for sealing and they're fuel resistant, as well as these ones right here. These are the metal washers with the double rubber sides for sealing. So looks like we're ready to go. Before I get started on the new tank, drilling it and installing a fuel pressure regulator system and making a return style, I have to drain the system, or drain all the fuel out of this old tank, because I need all the components out of there. I need to drain it first so I don't have fuel everywhere all over my floor. So I've got a fuel transfer pump right here. I'm going to put it inside my, my gas tank, and then we're going to call it good. Son of a... See, kids, this is why men don't live long. All right, all the gas out of there. We're gonna go ahead and flip it over and start on the other side. Let me just say, I did not write this, so if you guys, don't like the Packers, that's not on me. The last owner, I believe, did this.
It's not a game, it's a rich thing.
These screws, oh, they are different sizes. All right, I'll have to keep track of those. There's 2 longer ones. Nice to 3 longer ones. Okay, I will have to keep track of those. All right. There we go. This tank is done with. No longer needed. I went and took the original fuel line off the Fz1, and what I'm going to do here is I'm going to gently cut the rubber sleeve off, and then cut the actual hard plastic, the hard nylon, I believe it's nylon, line off. Plus, it's a good thing we're changing it out anyways, because of these stock lines are actually really bad about getting kinked and then cutting your fuel supply. So, but the reason why I'm doing what I'm doing is because I want to use these stock fuel attachments or fuel clips. So you have going to the engine and going to your fuel pump. I'm gonna be reusing these with the 5/16. So that's why so the 5/16 diameter will actually still support the amount of horsepower we'll be pushing, so there's no fuel restrictions there, but also it allows me to use these stock fuel clips, which is nice. So just gently cutting, and that's what we'll be doing. Like so. I should break it free like that. So, toss that in the trash. Missed, but it was close. All right, so I have my two sleeves right there, and they make a perfect fit in here. But I'm not gonna do that just yet because I don't wanna have issues getting those out. So we have those. Next thing I'm gonna do is bring the tank over because we're about to drill a hole. Cringe part. During my last supercharged build, I kept a lot of detailed things. So this is what it'll look like after drilled. I even kept the dimensions from where to where on where I should put the hole. So I'm gonna go ahead and start doing that now. Right in the center. And that should do it right there. Let's go ahead and give a test fit. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. Even though that's not the side it goes on, just want to show you coming through. It goes, oops. It actually goes in this way. So, like so. But I have some cleaning to do around there. I'm pretty sure, yes, there's plenty of shavings inside the tank. So I've got to get all that stuff out right now. It always hurts me drilling into the tank. It did my first time, and it definitely hurt this time because if you mess up, you mess up. And well, there's not a lot of places here you can drill to put the return fuel system. So time to keep going, I guess. Before I even put the fuel pump actually in this, might as well leave the weight off and see what kind of clearance I got going on here. I just hope. Now the issue with this new fuel pump, or this fuel pressure regulator, opposed to the one I have in my personal bike, is it's a little bit bigger. So okay, so some people that I showed the work in progress, I just showed a picture on Facebook. So they're like, well, why are you drilling a hole? Well, this is the reason. Now also, I can't just drill anywhere because I have to have a certain area that I put the fuel pressure regulator. And there's a little corridor underneath the tank / seat area that fits perfectly. That's why I measured it out and I put it there. And let me show you. So right there with the bar, that's the fuel pressure regulator. Right there is the brake fluid reservoir, and then off to the left is the shock itself. So I position this perfectly where it can get in there and doesn't make any contact with anything else. Now, also you can reach your hand in here and adjust that screw so you can fluctuate on how much fuel pressure you want. Now let me show you the clearance on this thing. You can see how much fuel, or how much room the fuel pressure regulator has from almost hitting the frame. And that's why I picked this area. The tank goes all the way down. The tank will latch. It's not making any contact with anything. All I have to do is put fuel line on the right hand side and some vacuum line for the boost reference. All right, now the fun stuff. Ooh, there's still some gas in there. Whew. All right, so we're gonna have to disassemble this little unit right here, and so we can have access to the fuel pump to do some stuff. So just gonna disconnect these two clips, and then there's these little latches here, here, and here that lets this assembly separate from the main housing. All right, so the fuel pump's out. Anyways, here is what that little guy looks like. That's it. Not very big at all. And it still has tons of fuel in it. Jeez. Anyways, so there's that. Now, the Denso fuel pump. So if you weren't sure how this works, this right here is your fuel leveling system or sensor. So you have this little sensor right in here, and this part right here makes contact with it. Now this right here has air in it, so it's going to float on top of the gas. Well, the more gas that's in there, that goes to the top like so, and it makes contact with this, and it lets your ECU know how much fuel you have. So that's how that works. So guys, here's a little secret. The fuel pump's not getting changed out. This is the stock fuel pump. It's going right back in. My bike doesn't even have, or my bike also has a stock fuel pump. There's a secret here. I just wanted to take this out to make sure that it looked good. It looks brand new, okay? That's expected from a motorcycle with that many miles on it. The thing is that the stock fuel pump can actually push out 185 to 195 horsepower before it starts to fade out. The thing is that it's regulated by this. This is the pressure relief valve that's inside of the housing, okay? This housing is actually hollow. So you have the center right here, which is where the fuel pump goes, like so, all right? Right here is where it sucks up fuel, gets pushed out the back end into that port right in there, that center. And this housing is actually hollow, all right? So the fuel rolls around in here, out through this one, into this, and into your actual fuel line that goes to your motor. Now, right here is where your pressure relief valve sits, all right? So the fuel, that's also connected to that inside wall. Now, when it sees extra pressure, which it sees all the time, this is spring-loaded in here, and it starts to open up, kind of like a wastegate or a blow-off valve, relieves that extra pressure. That extra pressure is where that extra horsepower comes from. Some people say that, oh, you can't remove that because the pump will be running at max speed all the time. It already runs at max speed and max pressure all the time. This is what regulates the fuel. This will not burn out quicker because we're doing something to the regulator or to the valve relief, all right? What TTS, the maker of that supercharger kit, says is to put a pop rivet inside of that valve, which is what we did. So we're not changing anything about the fuel pump. We're just changing what regulates the pressure that is pushed or seen by it. So we have extra pressure coming out of this. The fuel pressure regulator will regulate how much fuel pressure the motorcycle gets, and it's a boost reference. So for every 1 psi of boost pressure from the supercharger, this will add a 1 psi of fuel pressure to the line that goes to the ejectors. The good thing about that is because if you have 10 psi of boost coming from the supercharger, you have 10 psi of boost pressure pushing back against the injectors. So effectively, instead of 45 psi, you'd have 35 psi. This will push extra in there so it stays the same. So you have the same fuel atomization that's needed to keep those very small droplets, helps it combust. I mean, sometimes people run boost high enough and it starts pushing the fuel all the way back into the rail. There's nothing you can do about it, but go to a 1-to-1 regulator. So for every 1 psi, you get 1 psi of fuel pressure. That's what we're doing today. And this is a return style system. So all the extra fuel that it doesn't need, it gets returned back to the tank. And here is the final product. I went ahead and reassembled and put in the fuel pump. You guys didn't need to see all that. I went ahead and route some hose, some fuel line, and then they have a straight shot. So this will be a straight shot from the high flowing pump now that we've blocked off the pressure relief valve. Okay, so it's straight shot through here, and the excess pressure will be relieved via the fuel pressure regulator right here, and then it'll go right back into the tank. So this will modulate before the rail, right? But it'll still get all the pressure that is needed. So straight shot for high flow, and then excess pressure, almost like a wastegate or a blow-off valve with boost pressures. It's the same exact thing. Even has the same vacuum line that will be modulating or regulating this valve in here to supply higher flow fuel pressures. So here we go, guys. Clean enough. I had to route it around this. That way it has enough room to flex open when you lift the tank, but it has to be forming to the tank so it has enough clearance to actually shut the tank and seat properly. And this one I gave it just a tad bit room so it can flex down and clip into the fuel rail once on there. Let's see what it looks like on the bike. Well, if you look at this, the bike is starting to take shape, and that's really nice. So the fuel system fits perfect. I now have the fuel system done. It fits amazingly. The good thing is that it shut down. It didn't have any resistance. Usually if there's resistance, which I went through with my first time, so I've already got all the kinks worked out on this one. So there'll be some resistance, meaning it's colliding with some of the stuff that's already there. That's why I had to be critical on my placement of the fuel pressure regulator. And mimicking the other one, it was good. Now, as you can see, we're starting to take shape with the motorcycle. I'm not done with the fuel system just yet. I do have to put that blocking bung on one side of the fuel pressure regulator, as well as put some band clamps or some pipe clamps and stuff, hose clamps if you want to call them, whatever, on the fuel lines. That way they don't bust off. They don't think they will because they are super snug and hard to get on, but I will be doing that just to be sure for safety. The next thing is we will be addressing the R1 shock, okay, putting that together, and as well as cleaning the bike, getting all the residual oils and stuff that I've seen on here. They weren't oils, but they were like the lubricants from the chain, and it's just dirty. And then also putting the head back together. Now I really won't show you that on the next one. That's kind of boring, and I'm just going to snap my fingers and it'll be done. But haven't put it together just yet because I had solvent. I used some solvents and some other stuff to clean the head, to get all the metal out, and to get the oil that was in there already. So that should be done drying and all that kind of stuff. Make sure it's all out, but put that together, and then guys, from there things are going to be flying with this bike. More to come. But guys, I will see you later. That's all I got for today, and have a good one. All right.